Hi, everyone. This is Tom Parmalee, founder of funeralvision.com. And today I'm joined by Aaron Butler, Director of Field Development at Domani Preneed. Aaron is going to be one of our speakers at Mastermind, Elevating Your Funeral Service Business to New Heights, which will be Thursday, September 11th at the Live Casino and Hotel in Philadelphia. There's still time to sign up if you're interested. You can learn about it at mastermindfuneral.com. Aaron, thanks so much for joining me today.
My pleasure, Tom. Thanks for having me.
First, I know your background. You worked at Pracoa for several years, and then it looks like you left death care for a little while. Just curious, what brought you back to the profession?
Yeah, great question. Thanks. And thank you again just for the opportunity to talk about this event, talk about these things. It's really an exciting thing. Yeah, I did leave death care for a while. I left because I think I was just seeking something new. I felt like, in general, what I was experiencing in the industry was, from a career standpoint, it felt like everything is lagging behind a little bit in terms of marketing, in terms of technology, in terms of everything we're doing. It just felt like, I don't know, to me as a young person, it just felt like there was more to be had, if that's fair to say. And so I did. I ventured into software technology, in particular, into startups. And it was fast paced and exciting. I got a lot of different experiences in doing that. And I think I learned a couple of things on that journey for myself. The first thing that I realized was that one is that there's no place that does really the kind of customer service that we do and care about so much in death care like death care does. I just saw that even with these high budgets and high technology and on the cutting edge of innovation, no one was treating people like we do in death care. And I didn't realize it until I left it of how important that was to me, of how important the people aspect of death care was to me. So that was one thing that I realized in that journey. The second thing that I realized is that I think in death care, we really are lagging behind in a lot of ways in terms of technology and marketing. There's so much that is happening outside of the industry that is working in terms of getting in touch with consumers in the way that they want to be talked to and marketed to and even sold to in some circumstances. And I think in death care, we sometimes are behind a decade and don't see some of those things. And so again, on this journey, as I see it now, kind of this time away, this time away from the industry, I was able to see that one is that there's a way to treat people that we need to do in all industries that we just don't. But two is that there's so much to be had in terms of technology and in marketing that we can learn from these other industries that we can bring back to here into death care. So I think in that time away, I was first of all drawn back because of the people, but I wanted to be back here to use some of the things that I saw, to see some of the different kinds of marketing, the kinds of different technology. And we see that how important that is now with the advent of AI and so many of these new advances, how important it is for us to open up our minds to how we can be in touch with our consumers, how we can really communicate and work with our families in the ways that today's families want to be worked with.
And Domani Preneed, I know most people know what Domani Preneed does, but for those who do not, why don't you share that? And also, what is your role at the company?
Yeah. So Domani Preneed works in preneed funerals, as the name would state. We work with specifically firms that are looking to grow market share in an innovative way, to be able to not just be a passive preneed program, but to be an active preneed program, to find ways in which they can reach out to segments of the community that maybe they haven't been able to be in touch with before, to try new ways of marketing, to try better at tried and true ways of marketing. And so we work really hard to be able to help funeral homes to expand that market share and to really grow their influence, especially today, as again, our families are different even than they were a decade ago and especially 2 decades ago. They want to be talked to in a different way. And so it's so important for funeral homes today to stay on the leading edge of what communication and marketing looks like so that they don't fall behind to competitors that may be more in touch with those things. And as far as my role goes at the company, like you said, I'm the director of field development, and that kind of takes a lot of things into play. Part of it is our marketing and especially our digital marketing, trying to take some of our tried and true direct mail types approaches, things that have worked so well in the past but are starting to dwindle in so many markets, to try to bring that into a new frontier digitally in different ways and working with families. And beyond that, it's also working with our pool of agents to be able to help them and develop them with the resources and the tools that they need to also to be able to adapt to the way that families want to be talked to and sold to. So it's really encompasses a lot of that, but really it focuses on helping our field team, our sales team, develop in a way that helps to meet today's needs, the ways that consumers want to be talked to.
Do you have an ideal client? When I talk to a lot of suppliers, they say, well, you got to be of a certain call volume to work with us because otherwise we're just not a good solution for you. Or, they have some other traits of the type of client that would fit best for their solution. Who is your ideal client?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a great question. It really comes down to a few attributes, like you said. One is, some size is going to be helpful. If you're just kind of a very, very small operation, less than 100 calls a year, that may not be a great fit for everything that we do, but we have solutions that can help and really for anyone's size. So yeah, I think if, people are doing at least a couple of hundred calls or a few hundred calls from there on up, I think there's awesome opportunities to work with us to be able to expand the markets that they're in. The attributes we're looking for are funeral home owners that really care about growing, that care about their reputation, they care about their brand, and just expanding their footprint that they have to be able to reach more families and to connect with them. So there's a lot of room to play there in terms of what that client profile looks like for us. But I mean, one of the things that we love to do with clients that are considering us is to run a market analysis for free, where we're able to go into their market and look at their call volume, where their calls are coming from, analyze the markets, and see through our data what kind of marketing those markets respond to, and then to give them a really in depth analysis of what they could expect from partnering with us. And from there, they can decide if that's the kind of program they want to run and if that's how they want to do that. But our main goal is to really take pre-need off of their plate. It's such a specialized skill, especially in those bigger markets, that we want to be able to do it for them and to have them worry about one last thing and to know that it's been done well and helping to grow their market share now and in the future.
I know you have a special relationship with homesteaders. Why don't you
Yeah.
explain that connection to the listeners out there and how that works?
Yeah, we love homesteaders. So we work primarily with homesteaders in terms of we just sell their product, that pre-need insurance product. They've been a wonderful, wonderful partner for us. It's funny how we come at it together. Homesteaders has been around a long time. They really have a legacy in this industry and have been doing things in a wonderful way for so long. And then our wonderful benefit of teaming up with them is that we kind of bring kind of the innovation side of it as well. And so they're have an innovative mind and desire. We have innovative drive as well. And those two things mix has been a wonderful partnership. We've been able to help a lot of funeral homes and especially a lot of families in that process of being able to work with them, to partner with them, their wonderful leadership team. It's been a wonderful partnership.
It's funny that you mentioned their leadership team because I might be showing my age here, but I recall working with Graham Cook, Steve Lang, now Mr. Schaefer.
Yeah.
Each one of these leaders has just been top notch, which I think says a lot about a company's culture and values. So,
Yes.
I've really enjoyed working with all the leaders there over the years. Um, Also, as I mentioned, you're going to be speaking at Mastermind on September 11th, which I'm very excited about. I will be there moderating the event. And the title of your presentation is Content Creation Boot Camp for Funeral Professionals, Building Trust and Growing Your Business. Um, that's a mouthful. Sounds like a very exciting topic. What can attendees expect from your presentation? What are going to be, one or two of the takeaways?
Yeah. You know, like we talked about with trying to be innovative with marketing, seeing what outside industries are doing, I just I just feel like there's this massive opportunity within our industry that no one is really talking about. And I don't know, I'm just itching to help more people to see this. as I look around other industries and places, I'm noticing that consumers are less and less are being loyal to brands or going to brands for what they need. What I mean by that is, oftentimes we see on some of these social media platforms or whatever it is, we don't see brands necessarily marketing themselves. We see individuals that represent those brands. We see leaders from those brands that are marketing for them. It's almost like rather than people buying from companies or buying from brands, they're starting to listen to people, to individuals, is really where they're getting that relationship of trust being built. And I feel like if there's any industry out there that is looking to build trust with their clientele, it's funeral homes. And so there's a lot that we are doing, obviously, to help market that brand, to help that brand have a foothold. But I just think that there's something to be said about funeral home owners that can start to build a personal relationship with their community and to build trust that way. Now, what that looks like is a lot of different things, but what we're focusing on specifically in this presentation is how funeral home owners can actually create content consistently and easily online to start to build that relationship. So, what the attendees can expect from this presentation as far as takeaways from it, I call it a boot camp for a reason, is that it's very interactive. I have guides created, I have examples created where I want to be able to have funeral home owners come away from this with a handful of very tangible things that they can take home. I want them to have a feeling of what their message is, the thing that resonates for them that they want to talk to the community about, or maybe the thing that they want their funeral home to represent. I want them to have that message. I want them to know and to have the tactics to be able to share that message with people through social media, through active digital outlets. And I want them to come away with basically really, a month's worth of content that they can leave with from this event and to start to post immediately on the plane ride home. It's just really that easy in that we can, with the advent of AI, with the advent of some processes that we can put in place that I'm bringing to share, we can have that content ready to go and share in easy ways that can start to engage the community. Imagine, these consumers that are today and especially in the future that are looking to go to a funeral home. If they along the journey have seen consistent content from a funeral home owner or an employee of a funeral home, that they've learned to trust them, that they've seen them as an expert, how much more likely are they to go to that funeral home versus, whatever other funeral home in town? They've built that relationship in the way that consumers want to build relationships today, individual to individual. So, an example, if you have a funeral home owner that is just, they have a pet crematory and they're passionate about the pet cremation process, I promise with a little bit of content to be created and to go out onto those channels on some consistent basis, as they're talking about, what pet cremation looks like today, what kind of mementos are available for pet owners to have, what are some things they should be thinking about ahead of time in terms of cost or process, what are some things that maybe children experience with the loss of a pet, and how can that be helped today in that cremation, experience and process. There's so many little pieces of content that as funeral home owners are passionate about whatever the message is that they're sharing, they'll build, really a mind share, a market share around that thing. If it's pet crematories, that person is going to own the pet cremation business in that place where they're creating content. If it's about, if they have content they're creating for, adult children that are wondering how to have the conversations with their parents when it's time to start making plans. If they make consistent content about that thing, man, those adult children who are consuming that content, you better believe that they're going to go to that funeral home where that person is coming from. So I just think there's a huge opportunity that no one's talking about that's within reach. It's easier than we think. We look at content creation, it can look kind of scary, but in reality, it can be very easy. And that's what I hope to share at this presentation is just how easy it can be and that you can walk away with ready to go postable content.
Well, those are some great insights, and I know it's very hands-on. I can't wait to see you in action. Last question. Always curious how people answer this one. AI, how are you using it? How is Domani using it? How do you see the profession moving forward? leveraging it to better serve families and to boost business operations. Just give me some of your thoughts there.
Yeah, it's crazy. AI just changes so fast. By the time I answer this question, something's going to be different, you know? I think just over the weekend, ChatGPT went from, a high school level education to a PhD level education and the kinds of answers they give. It's so fast how quickly it innovates. The way that I personally use it is becoming more and more every day. I think it started as a search engine for me, and now it's become a strategic collaborator with me as I work through problems and work through solutions. It's helped me to develop, presentations. It's helped me to develop different strategies. I use it as a collaborative partner with a lot of back and forth. That's been incredibly helpful for me. At Domani, we're using it to become more efficient and more effective so that as we innovate, we can do so quickly. We can do it more efficiently. We can turn around more quickly and to be able to help more families that way. We're exploring ways to use it in communication with families to help them to get answers more quickly. We're exploring it in all kinds of different ways, but I think the short of the long of that is just it's an exciting opportunity. It's an exciting to see how quickly this can transform not just our personal workflows for all of us, but really our company and overall our industry as we start to use it in ways that, again, help families be communicated to in the ways that they want to.
Well, Aaron Butler, thank you so much for joining me. The profession is very lucky to have you back working for it on its behalf. We're also very lucky to have you speaking at Mastermind, elevating your funeral service business to new heights, which again, we still have a handful of seats left. They're running out fast. So if you're interested in joining us September 11th in Philadelphia, visit mastermindfuneral.com. Check it out, or you can visit funeralvision.com and just click on the events tab. Aaron, thank you so much for joining me today.
My pleasure, Tom. We'll see you there.